Good evening, good evening, good evening. This is your servant and Senator, Carla Joseph, welcoming you to another segment of my bi-weekly talk show, On Point, heard every other Tuesday from 6 to 6:30 p.m. right here on the People's Station, WSTA 1340 AM. Well, last segment was pre-recorded, and I did mention that we were going to have a hot topic to discuss at our legislative hearing, which was held last week, Thursday. And of course, we had the committee of the whole, which I had mentioned in my pre-recorded broadcast. And that was very informative. And I did have some questions, and I was able to ask those questions of the testifiers, especially the representatives from the Department of Education. And they did, in fact, answer. And also, you would know by now that we did, in fact, have someone, persons come and testify in front of us at the Committee of the Whole meeting that was held earlier this month. So we have a lot to digest. At our last legislative session, which was on July 20th, we had a meeting, and that bill, which we really had a lot of issues with and concerns, and we want to get those things ironed out, was regarding the land swap. Okay, so to give you some context and background, remember the Virgin Islands government owns Whistling Key. And we do not own Catherineburg, which is the proposed site of the new pre-K to 12th grade public school in St. John. So the Virgin Islands government wants to meet the need of the St. John population. You know, for years, our young people have been going through some hardship. They have to wake up before the crack of dawn to catch a ferry boat over to St. Thomas, back and forth, and they're having a lot of issues with the decreasing in the literacy, numeracy rates. The dropout rates have gone up. And so to make it a bit more convenient, the governor, and this has been spoke about for over 50 years, in fact, has now been able to reach an agreement with the National Park Service, which owns the state Catherineburg, to actually swap properties. So in exchange for giving us, the government of the Virgin Islands, Catherineburg, the National Park Service, or we are offering the National Park Service Whistling Key. So that is where we stand. And the bill number for that legislation is bill number 35-0112. And it was held for 45 days. So we're working on it. A number of bills were passed. About 8 bills were passed, and they were sent to the governor for his signature. So most of them were acts commending and honoring outstanding Virgin Islanders, such as Mr. Ben Buren, Benny Stevens, as well as posthumously former Senator Edgar Isles, Dr. Olaf Hendricks, the Music in Motion School of Higher Dance Education, and its founder, Charlisa Schuster, as well as to convey the Medal of Honor and honoring and commending former delegate to Congress, the Honorable Donna Marie Christensen. So we acted on those items, as well as an item relative to the Taxi Cab Commission, just to clarify the duties and responsibilities of the director of the Taxi Cab Commission. Remember, we're having a major issue with that agency, just with the overall management, and knowing that the taxi men and women, hardworking taxi men and women, that's the only industry we could say for sure in the Virgin Islands that we own. And they are also the front line. They stand at the front line of our major industry, tourism. They are like the gatekeepers, and they help people exit, and they transport people, especially on ground. And so we want to assure that they receive the type of service, the caliber of service that they deserve. They're out there bringing in money, being hospitable, showing off all that we have, if not all, most that we have to offer in the tourism industry. They get educated through a customer service training and the like. And so we are dependent on this very industry to bring in funds to our coffers in the Virgin Islands. We all depend on them, because if a guest doesn't have a really good experience with our taxi drivers, it may adversely and potentially adversely affect our overall tourism product and experience that our visitors receive. Remember, in our Virgin Islands March, it says we should hold out a welcome to one and all. So that's part of the welcoming committee that we have here in the Virgin Islands. Even though you don't think so, that's what it is. The taxi men and women, they are really very much an essential part of that welcoming committee of our visitors when they come to visit us. So the 35th legislature started in the 34th. Under my committee, the Committee on Government Operations, Consumer Protection, Veteran Affairs, Consumer Protection rather, and we have continued to keep the pressure on the Virgin Islands Taxi Cab Commission. Okay, and I want to also welcome into the studio with me my guest. She's not a stranger. She's been here before. In fact, this would be her third year with me, and I'm very thankful that she has been able to stay with me. You see, they have government agencies that are having problems retaining their employees. I am so grateful that my summer employment student intern really appreciates working with me and my team, and she comes back every year. I don't even have to ask. She would text me and we talk and text all throughout the year, and she would definitely say, Senator, is the applications up? I'm ready to apply. And so we are having her back here with us. So we say a pleasant welcome again to my summer intern who has been with me from the beginning, 2021, Ms. Shania Nieves. A pleasant good evening, Ms. Nieves.
Good evening, everyone.
Good. And so we want to be able to be sure that, in fact, we are taking advantage of all that our young people have to offer, because it's essential. We all know that we have a deficit when it comes to human resources. So I wanted to have Ms. Nieves in with me. I have about 10 young people we have on the Summer Youth Employment Opportunity Program. They were placed in various places throughout our community, including the Boys and Girls Club, the Virgin Islands Port Authority, VIA, and so the WSTA, number of Catholic charities as well. So, and Triple H, a number of them have been placed throughout our community doing really good work. And so, Miss Nieves, I'm going to interview you just as we've done before. Tell the listening audience a little bit about yourself, specifically what year you graduated from high school, the school you graduated from, as well as what school you're enrolled in, the post-secondary school you're enrolled in now.
Well, good evening, everyone, again. To start it off, I am a graduate from St. Peter and Paul Catholic School. I graduated back in 2021 as a valedictorian. Then I went off to go to Savannah College of Art and Design. I'm currently majoring in fashion marketing and management. And from that point now, with working for the Summer Youth Employment Program, I started straight out of high school because being a college student, immediately you start thinking about how you're going to pay for tuition, how you're going to pay for books, and I really needed the job. And on top of that, the job experience, because the industry that I'm working for, and even though it's fashion, is also very competitive, and understanding business is a major part of that. So just finding this opportunity through my teacher and applying, I wasn't sure of what I was getting into. It was my first time meeting Senator Joseph, and it was like a spark had ignite, and it was like just a positive feeling, like a positive emotion, and it kept me motivated to do my very best. And I was welcomed with open arms. And since then, fast forward 3 years later, I am still under Senator Joseph's wing. She is still mentoring me and teaching me all about our culture, all about why we as people serve each other and why it's so important to be connected with everyone, whether it's family, friends, or community, how those connections help you throughout your life. And learning all that, and especially I'm going to Savannah next month in a couple of weeks. And this is going to be my first time really off the island, away from home. Just carrying those lessons with me and introducing it to new people and kind of like bringing that piece of the Virgin Islands with me.
And that is all we could really ask. And also to hope that when you have completed your studies at SCAD, that you will come home and contribute back to the Virgin Islands. You know, if I have anything to do with it, I definitely would do my very best to see that you have an opportunity here at home. Because as I mentioned, we do have a deficit with getting human capital here in the Virgin Islands who have roots in the Virgin Islands to do the work that is required to move us forward and be progressive. So I definitely really want to thank you so much, Ms. Nieves. You did an awesome job in articulating what you are studying and what you hope to do and what you have learned. Now, what are your primary responsibilities during your internship with my office? Tell us a little bit about what you've been responsible for doing.
Right now, what I've been in charge of is just preparing documents, any daily tasks that the senator needs help with or my colleagues need help with. I am there on the beat if I have to print out the latest information for a budget hearing, or if I have to answer the phone, I'm always on top of that. Sometimes it will require me to go out of the office, whether it's like visiting sites or just recently with the 175th Emancipation Celebration, I went over to St. Croix with the senator to partake in the different festivities. So that's also part of my job, but at the same time, my civic duty as being a Virgin Islander. So it's like 2 in 1. I also would help making sure everything just runs as smoothly as possible, because even though working in the legislature, we are a small staff and there's so much to be done that I just do my best to help in any way I can to make sure we cover all the needs, all the important work, even if it's little things, making sure we get that all done and taken care of and prepare for the next day.
Right. And, everything for me is always timely. Communication and timeliness. Now, I also have another question to pose to you. In your working with my office, what skills and knowledge do you believe that you have gained through this internship opportunity?
I think one of the biggest things that I earned was a sense of confidence and communication skills. So I could be a very timid person, especially.
I do not believe that one bit.
Yes.
So I pulled you out of your shell?
Yes, you did. It kind of gave me more of this boost in confidence because I know my work. It's just, I guess when I get quiz on it, I get a little afraid. They call it self-sabotaging in a sense. Mm-hmm. But working in your office and working with you reminded me to not doubt in my abilities, which made me a lot of a stronger performer. I could see it in my work at school. I get a lot of support and compliments from my professors and my classmates commending me about my growth. And I said, well, I can't take all the credit. I had a really good mentor to help me along with that.
It's the village mentality, That's what it is. It's all of us working as a village. It takes a village. And if that was imparted to me, I am supposed to do the same for you and others, and you are supposed to also do the same. It's passing it on. That's why you have such a rich amount of wealth. Sometimes we take for granted the amount of wealth that we have here. You're looking at monetary wealth, but that's not what's really going to carry you through the long distance of life and the ups and downs and those little valleys. What is going to take you the distance is having that wealth of support, of encouragement consistently, time and time again. And that is something that we uniquely offer here in the Virgin Islands. Now, you mentioned the communication. Also, we have been able to get you out of the shell because I've been taking you places, introducing you to people. Did you receive any regular feedback on your performance from our office and your direct supervisor?
I do. Normally, I get a lot of feedback when it comes with just handling the phone calls and just the different procedures of what happens in the legislature. Because I'm a summer intern, I'm not there 24/7 every day or every month. So there are some things that changes while I'm gone. There's some things that I may not be aware of. So those are just stuff that the staff will help point and guide me in the right direction in case of anything, because sometimes I have to hold down the fort and I get a little nervous, especially when they're asking me questions and I don't know the answer because I wasn't there. Mm-hmm. So the staff definitely steps in and they just guide me on that path so I could do my best as possible.
Mm-hmm. Very good answer. Did you encounter any ethical dilemmas or difficult situations during your internship? I know you just mentioned one time when you have to hold on before because either one staff person was out in the field, another may have gone to lunch, and I'm upstairs on the floor of the legislature. And so you're the lone person in the office. Mm-hmm. So those are, yes, difficult situations, especially for a young person. But how do you see that you have handled that? And has that helped you in your growth?
I think, for starters, I have to remain calm. And then kind of just practicing what I learned and trying to remember what I've been taught helped me get through the situation. Sometimes there's a blind curve, which means the least thing that I can expect happens and it's not something I prepare for. So that's when I go into a listening mode. I really listen to the situation and I observe before I act or do something, because I really don't know what I'm getting myself into at this point, and it's best that I just proceed with as much caution as possible, and hopefully along the line I find a solution or my staff member comes back in time.
Okay. The next thing I would like to ask you, is there anything that you believe that we can, well, as a final, that we can do to improve our summer youth employment opportunity program going forward? What items, just give me two, and if you like three, what items you think can be done or implemented and put to use to improve the summer youth employment opportunity program for my office?
Well, right now, the way how things operate is actually done pretty smoothly. I would say the one thing that could be added may be the variety of the different job employments.
Employment opportunities
Yeah.
with our employer partners.
Mm-hmm.
So you think we need to have more variety? What infusion? Because that's our ability to have partners who are willing to work with young people patiently to help build the capacity. Remember, when we're building the capacity, it's not just building the capacity for you, but it's also your family and our entire community, and more importantly, our entire nation. That's part of nation building. And so if an employer provides an opportunity for you to get on the job, hands-on training, what type of partners do you think you would like to see partner with our office?
Well, right now, coming from my background, as I mentioned, I'm a fashion marketing and management student. So definitely people who are in that field, like local boutiques, people who operate retail, especially if they're small business. Small business is such a big thing today, entrepreneurship, and we have a lot of amazing local designers right here in the Virgin Islands who could need the help, whether it's in marketing their designs so they could be more well-known or just trying to get their store up and running. I think that would be something good to look into. I think also the STEM fields, like science, like with the science, medicines, mathematics, because STEM is a really big thing going forward. I know information technology and programming, especially with AI technology, is becoming such a big thing on the mainland, that having more employers of that field too would help different students of different backgrounds.
Mm-hmm. I know for sure that we did 1 year get one of an anesthesiologist to actually partner with us. But this year, our efforts to work with some of the persons in the medical field was a bit more challenging. Some of our persons, they, especially, like the dentists and the like, we reached out to two, they just were not receptive, and we were willing to go 50-50, especially with a young person who wants to go into that field. It offers such a major opportunity for them, because now they are working with that person in the field that they are exploring going, so they could get that foot up to have what they perceive, connect to the reality of the situation. And unless we open up our doors, talking about her hospitality, with our taxi men and women, but it's the same thing with business owners, entrepreneurs. Open up your doors and allow a young person to have that hands-on training, that level of mentorship, as well as career shadowing. It doesn't take too much of your time, and you can see the fruits of your labor, those seeds that you have planted, that's going to take bear fruits, and it's going to dig down deep roots. And with those fruits being bared, there are going to be others who could pluck from it and grow from it. So it's a constant growth and constant massaging and opportunities for our young people. Now, you mentioned with the Committee on Finance, we have a Committee on Finance meeting tomorrow. And on the agenda for tomorrow, we actually have a couple of agencies that are scheduled to appear. Yes. We have several agencies that are scheduled to appear.
Mm-hmm.
You have any idea what those agencies are?
Well, for starters, this meeting is going to be in St. Croix, so you better be watching the live stream of that. And we're going to have the VI Energy Office, Department of Health, VI Board of Nurse and Licensed Nurse, and also the Bureau of Motor Vehicles.
And I have to attend that meeting definitely, because as the committee chair of Government Operations, Veterans Affairs, and in that meeting, definitely. And we also, I wanted to mention, because last legislative session, we also had a fantastic, and this is geared towards our young people. I'm so excited I signed on as a co-sponsor. I believe all of the senators signed on as a sponsor for a resolution where we're honoring and commending the 2023 Central American and Caribbean Game gold medalists, and the teams that won also the gold medal, our women's basketball team, as well as Michael Diamore, who won the gold medal in archery. So we really are commending them. And then we're hearing all of these fantastic things about Michelle Smith and Aaliyah Boston. Listen, we have such a wealth. I keep saying it, sometimes we look at our monetary and it's not there, but we have a wealth of talents here in the Virgin Islands that we really need to appreciate and support. So we have this act to do this, and we're giving monies to the Virgin Islands Basketball Federation. They're supposed to be having a nice parade next week or the week after in St. Croix. To really commend all of the athletes who won gold medals with the various competitions we've had over the summer. This is exceptional. And that's one of the things I love about the Virgin Islands, We love to celebrate.
We do.
We do.
We
love to celebrate and appreciate, but we could be too, But when you're doing a good thing, Virgin Islanders, we like to say, VI nice, we're going to celebrate. Let's have a party, commemorate, and just, make people feel really good for all of the hard work that they have put in place and together to get things accomplished. So we definitely want to give that level of appreciation to those medalists. We are winding down on our half an hour here with On Point. Is there anything you would like to say to close out, Ms. Nieves?
I would say on the topic of that we love to celebrate, we do. And once we have our hands on the Virgin Islands Madras fabric, we make some beautiful designs. So keep your eyes out for our beautiful national fabric. I know I'm always hitting up the fabric store just asking, you got any in stock yet? You got any in stock yet? Because we do make some beautiful design, beautiful dresses, and beautiful bags.
So you're saying that our fabric store is out of stock, but our madras is in demand?
It's in high demand. I know there's one roll left at the main fabric store on St. Thomas.
So that tells me a lot of our people are really enthused and really appreciative of having a madras for the Virgin Islands. So I believe it was former Senator Myron Jackson who may have passed that bill to make that madras our official madras, which is commendable. So that's telling us that we are getting into a really good sense of nationality here in the Virgin Islands. Well, we have reached that time of the evening, and I want to say thank you to everyone who listened in and tuned in to On Point, my bi-weekly radio talk show. Remember, you could get in contact with me directly in my office at 340-693-3515, or contact me on Facebook as Senator Carla Joseph. Also, you can contact me on my website at senatorcarlajoseph.com. Remember, On Point is heard every other Tuesday right here on WSTA Radio, 1340 AM, the People's Station. So join me on August 8th for another segment of On Point. I'd like to thank my staff and all my Joseph Action Committee members for their help and their support, and you, the listening audience, as well as the voters and the taxpayers of our Virgin Islands. Thank you so much. Have a blessed evening.